everyone's ready. I'm Julie McDonough with the Newton Public Schools, and welcome to our evening news conference. I first will introduce School Committee Chair Chris Brezski for a short statement, and then Mayor Ruthanne Fuller for another short statement. And I know the evening is running long. If you have a couple questions afterwards, we can take those. Thank you.
Good evening. Sorry for running a little late. Chris Brezski, Chair of the Newton School Committee. I'm happy to report today was at least a day of progress, certainly compared to the last couple. The NTA President and I had several face-to-face meetings today, lasting several hours in aggregate. I believe those meetings provided a basis for how we might be able to move forward and solve this. There was meaningful discussion on the issue of parental leave, and we're pleased with the forward progress there. The school committee also agreed to negotiate on a fourth year of the contract. This introduces a new variable into negotiations, but we have made it clear we will not extend beyond our financial resources to an agreement that will require us to lay off teachers. Each day of the NTA strike, and well before, Superintendent Anna Nolan and I have been in close contact with the mayor and City Hall. Following a meeting with the mayor this morning, the school committee moved forward with that proposed fourth year. We maintain that the contract we have put on the table is competitive and one the union should agree to return our students to school. That said, if a fourth year of the contract is going to be a vehicle through which we ultimately reach agreement, we believe the city will have to provide incremental resources to NPS. We will reconvene negotiations tomorrow at noon. Smaller working groups will be meeting tomorrow morning to work on the issues of scheduling the school day. We look forward to and are hopeful for a productive session tomorrow, and we will continue to work as quickly as possible to reach an agreement and return our students to the classroom. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Ruthanne Fuller, Mayor here in the City of Newton. It's good news that the two sides are talking in a meaningful way. That's progress. Collectively, we need to figure this out and do so immediately. Our children need to be in school. Just like the fines on the union are doubling each day, it feels like the deleterious impact on our students and families and caregivers are also doubling each day. And tomorrow marks the 5th day our students won't be where they need to be in classrooms. I respect our teachers and admire the work they do. This has never been about winning. It's all about getting to a consensus on a competitive and sustainable contract with our terrific teachers, one that will not result in program, service, or staff reductions anywhere in our schools or in our municipal departments, whether it be police, fire, DPW, Parks and Rec, library, or others. Thank you very much. We're happy to take some questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, Chris, can you tell us what did you not work on today? We heard some areas of progress. Was there something that you kind of put on the back burner when you focused on parental leave and talking about money and
Yeah.
fourth year and stuff?
Yeah, sure. So, look, I mean, the parental leave piece is, I know it's an important piece to the NTA. It's an important piece of the puzzle for the mass teachers who are in the room. It's a topic that had to be tackled, and as I said, we made progress. We are not in an agreement. I think, probably the biggest progress of the day is the ability of the NTA president and I to sit in a room and to speak quite frankly about what each side is looking to get from this. It's a different level of engagement than we've had in this process to date.
What made that happen?
I sent Mike an email last night and asked if he wanted to go take a walk today. He said yes.
And just to be clear, so there's a fourth year that's being added on. That's progress, and then the other progress is that you are able to now have more parental leave. That's kind of the two fronts that are improving today, or improved today.
Yes, so we offered enhanced proposals on parental leave. So let me be clear about that. We came closer to the union's position on parental leave. That costs money, and we've got to find that money. As I said, we're not going to come to any agreement that is going to require us to lay off teachers. What was the other piece you asked about? I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then parental leave, it sounds like progress was made. Yesterday, it sounded like all momentum was
Yeah,
lost.
I mean, look,
today.
any amount of progress is progress relative to the last 2 days. And that's why I'm saying just the ability of us to be able to sit down and speak frankly with each other is progress in and of itself.
When you say the fourth year, what do you mean exactly? Like,
Sure. So that the terms of the contract we have been negotiating was a 3-year contract. That's typical for a teacher's contract. The union had wanted to add a 4th year to that contract. To date, we had been reluctant to do so. Just why introduce another variable to argue over? But we felt it became a bit of a threshold issue, and so we're going to see if it can be something we can agree on as opposed to something we can disagree on.
Okay, we'll take one more question.
I need to ask something. They also downstairs stressed to us that they want to focus on the progress that was made today.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start talking about we have to be sustainable, we don't want to resort to layoffs, their side says that there are layoffs, and there have been in the past, because the mayor won't free up funding, period. They say that's up to you. So could you maybe speak to that? Because we're not sure what to do with that.
I have always prioritized the funding for the Newton Public Schools. I have increased the budget for the Newton Public Schools every year that I've been mayor, and I have prioritized the funding and that increase compared to the rest of the city's increases. I agree that we need even more funding for the Newton Public Schools, and an override will be necessary to make a major leap forward. And we tried once in March 2023. I look forward to helping and lead that effort in the future. Just as the superintendent of the Newton Public Schools, the chair of the school committee, and the entire school committee is committed to offering a competitive and sustainable contract with no layoffs. Ditto for the city as a whole. We also cannot have layoffs in our other vital departments as a result of funding this contract. Just to make sure everybody knows the data, 2 out of 3 tax dollars, as it should, go to the Newton Public Schools. 65% of our total budget, 89% of the NPS budget goes to compensation. Our revenues are capped by Prop 2.5. Our tax levy can only go up 2.5% a year, plus new growth from development or redevelopment. If the contract or the NPS budget grows faster than our revenues, that means cuts in other vital services. I'm working really closely with Chair Brezski, the superintendent, the school committee negotiating team, and I am confident that there will be a competitive offer that is sustainable for the city as a whole, our community as a whole, as well as for the Newton Public Schools.
Are you saying, though, there have to be cuts because the teachers are asking for too much?
No, it would be, understandably, we all love our teachers. In a perfect world, all our teachers, all our police officers, all our firefighters, all our snowplow drivers would be paid more. We're living in a financial reality, so we're just making sure we balance everything in a way that can work for the community as a whole, for our students, for our teachers.
I think Chris has a response, and then I'll take one more question from you. You're all set? Okay, great.
Yeah.
He doesn't have presentation, so thank you.
Okay,
Yep.
no problem.
Trying to clarify how that
Sure.
goes.
Yeah, so let me just offer my quick perspective on that. The school committee did have to make painful cuts in the last 2 years, and that is part of the reason we are just unwilling to put the district in that position again. So this is the friction. This is how we got here. The union has made clear to us that their demands are not within our financial constraints. And we have made it clear that we are not going to agree to a contract that is going to result in a perpetual layoff, cycle of layoffs. And there hasn't been overlap there. So that's how we got here. That's what we're trying to figure out. And, you know, it's hopefully introducing this new variable to negotiation will help in that regard.
All right.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Thank you.
I guess I will be here.
Unfortunately.